Not going to make eye contact to the right side of the room right now. Years ago, as a new mom, I had a blog entitled Amazing Adventures Await. It was all about finding the Lord in the midst of motherhood, and I had no idea at that time that one of the many adventures in my life would be joining the Mary and Martha family. At my very first conference, about 9 years ago, I brought Clara, who at the time was just 1 year old. I had no intention of bringing her to the awards banquet, but many of you can remember that we were in Kansas City at Hallmark's home office, and they had a really cute boutique store, and I found the cutest little black dress in size 6 months, and if you've got the dress, you've got to go to the party. So I brought Clara, no shoes, to the party in her little black dress. Well, as we walked in, I was welcomed by James and Marilyn Barnett, the president of Dayspring, and his wife. And he asked us to come sit down with him. I was absolutely beside myself. I was completely honored. I had no idea that I would be getting up to be recognized on the stage. But James quickly grabbed Clara out of my arms when my name was called. Well, when I came back to the table, he didn't give her back. And you can see on the bottom how in love Clara is with Mr. James. So there she is in her little black dress, and then there she is a few years later with James as well. That night, a very special friendship was formed between James and Marilyn, myself, my girls, and Brian as well, and it has endured to this day. I recall James's encouragement at every recognition celebration, being by the stage and giving me a "that a girl." And he would challenge me with what my sales goals should be for the next year. We're gonna do $1 million, right, next year? What's it gonna take for $1 million? Well, tonight it was 2.5 million, James, so I hope that we have exceeded your expectation. He would always remind me that he likes to win, and the good thing is that I like to win too. About 2 years ago, James wrote a book called Blue Skies, and it's subtitled How to Live an Extraordinary Expectation of What's Around the Corner. And right behind the dedication page, which this one's actually signed to my girls by James. Not gonna read that right now because I'm not gonna cry. But it says adventure, an unusual and exciting, typically hazardous experience, daring activity that calls for enthusiasm, exploration of unknown territory. Synonyms include thrill, risk, danger, perilousness, uncertainty, pursuit, experience, quest, venture, and escapade. This is how James has lived his life as a husband, a father, and grandfather, as a business leader, friend, marketplace influencer, and culture changer. I have loved getting to be James's friend. I don't know anyone who takes the time to get to know stories like James does. If he doesn't know someone's name, he will come whisper in my ear and ask me, what's their name, remind me where they're from, because he truly wants to know. He wants to know if Brian caught a fish on the trip. He wants to know about Bria's boyfriend and the fact that they broke up, but that's okay. He wants to know about how Clara's doing with her reading. He wants to know about Brooke and dance. One time James was in town in Houston, and he was just around the corner. Well, I hadn't just cleaned my house for James to come, so I offered to meet him at a restaurant instead, and we got to share a meal that day. Marilyn, he was getting a special card for you. I am fully confident this is how he will launch into the next season with extraordinary expectation of what's around the corner. It's a season of unknowns which rest in the hands of a God who sees the whole picture and can do, as Ephesians 3:20 tells us, exceedingly and abundantly more than all we could ask or imagine. James has championed Mary and Martha. He impresses me with his ability to love us well and to lead us well, not only in business, but also in ministry. He knows our backgrounds, our hometowns, and our hobbies. He is genuine and generous. James is my friend, even when he's not rooting for the Astros when they are playing in the World Series. He is the best at not wasting food at a meal, and if you've ever had a meal with him, you know. He'll tell you he grew up with a bunch of siblings and you had to be first to get to the dessert. He is the best at making a deal, striking a deal for those of us that wanted to use the spa on incentive trips. He's like, okay, I got you a deal. You gotta get in there, you gotta tell them you're with me, and they'll give you the best deal. He's the best at making sure you look good in a photo because he wants to look good in a photo too. James was faithful to check on our family when our home flooded. He was faithful to check on our family when Brian was sick in the hospital. He's continually challenged me when I felt uncertain with the changes happening. He's challenged me and encouraged me to seek the Lord first and foremost. One time our family was on an adventure, and it just happened that we could come through Siloam Springs with some friends of ours, and he's like, I'm here, I'll give you a personal tour. That's the kind of man that James is. James, you have taught me so much over the last 11 years, and Marilyn, I'm thankful for your friendship as well. And to you, I know that amazing adventures await.